Hello again, welcome to the Mastercam and Lathe courses. In that lecture, we're gonna talk about and Z-axis actually. So of course, first of all, and we need to create our product. So while we are creating our product, actually we can only use and wireframe options. So I'm gonna use right mouse button here. I'm gonna click on the isometric perspective here, and then actually at that point, and if I am turning to top view, if you would like to create some and actually some 2D toolpath, you need to use and that area, as you know. So this is Y positive side and X minus side. Okay, so when we change and actually our VCS, we're gonna see that and X instead of Z-axis, and Y we're gonna see the X-axis. So when we turn the actually lathe mode, we're gonna see that this is the X-axis and this is gonna turn to Z-axis. Okay, so at that point I don't care about the axis X or Y. We already know that we need to focus on that area. Okay, so this is the two axis and lathe process. Okay, so let me turn to machine and lathe and default. Okay, and then maybe we should prefer to use the rough toolpath. So we're gonna select our product. We're gonna start from the green arrow to red arrow, and then I can click OK button. And then as you know that I need to select my tool and I need to organize my cut parameters, and then we can click the OK button to be able to see our and toolpath. Okay, that's all about our and 2D lathe process. So when we turn to actually Z-axis, as you can see here, this is the Z-axis options, or we can also use the right mouse button here and lathe toolpath. We're gonna see here Z-axis. So we can use the face toolpath, cross contour toolpath, Z-axis contour toolpath, face drill, cross drill, and Z-axis drill toolpath. If you intend to use the face contour toolpath, okay, we need to create some, of course, and some wireframe here. So that's why I can select my toolpath and then I can push to that button. Okay, and then we can use right mouse button here. I can turn to isometric perspective. Okay, that's fine. Actually, I don't need that toolpath. We can use that button to delete all operations. Okay, and then we can also delete and that wireframe here. Okay, I don't need that. So we just need to focus on Y and Z-axis plane here to be able to create our face contour. Okay, so that's why maybe we should turn to 3D to 2D. I can click here. You can see that that's going to turn to 2D right now. And then I can click the C plane to be able to change my working plane here. I'm going to turn to actually right view. Okay, when we turn here, okay, we're gonna see that this is my normal coordinate system actually, but this is my C plane. Okay, so after that, when I am turned to wireframe options, I can click here. I can click here to be able to create my polygon. Okay, I just need to see the 6 sides here. I can write my radius here. It can be like this. And then I can click origin here. Oops, sorry about that. I can write my radius as a 25 millimeter. Okay, and then we can click OK button. As you can see that I created some wireframe on my plane Y and Z plane here. Of course, when we change the right plane, Y and Z axis gonna turn to X and Y axis. Okay, but I don't care about and that kind of stuff. Okay, after that I can turn to top view again. I can click here to change my view. This is my view, it's a top view, but we are ready to be create our interface toolpath. Okay, I'm gonna click here, right mouse button, toolpath options, and then C-axis, and then face contour toolpath. Okay, this is quite similar to actually and with actually contour toolpath for milling process. At that point actually we can see and 3 and the button here we can change our mode here. This is the wireframe. This is wireframe shapes, so I can use that one. If you intend to use the solid, you can click here. This is the solids options. You can also see the C-plane and 3D options here. I'm gonna also mention about that stuff, but right now it's not so important. Okay, I'm gonna focus on the 3D right now. It's not important because we are working only one plane here right now. Okay, so that's why it's not important right now. We can choose C plane or 3D. It's not important because we are working on the plane. Okay, so after that we can use the selections method here. I'm gonna click chain, and then I can click here. This is gonna be my contour, and then we can click OK button. After that we can also see the options here. As you can see that in the toolpath type we can only see the C-axis face contour. We cannot change that. You can also see some example about and what we're gonna get after that process. Okay, so let's turn to tool options. I'm gonna use the right mouse button on that page. This is the white page. As you can see, I'm gonna click here, and then we can select the create tool options. Okay, after that we need to select our tool. Most of the time we prefer to use actually flat end mill in that process. Okay, so that's gonna be my tool. I can use the next button. We can be careful about that number of the fluids here. That's important while we are calculating our feed rate and spindle speed. Okay, I can write my feed rate here. That's gonna turn to 0.1 and 2, and then we can write our cutting speed here. When we write our cutting speed, my tool diameter, according to my tool diameter and feed rate, we're gonna calculate our real feed rate and spindle speed. So this is the feed rate for actually one speed for one teeth. Okay, so that's why we need to calculate and that stuff multiply with spindle speed and multiply with the number of the fluids, and then we're gonna get our feed rate. Okay, you can also turn back to how can we calculate cutting speed and feed rate and cutting time options. Okay, after that I can turn to linking parameters. So at that point we can actually two options here, and one of them is obsolete, and I mean that I don't care about where is my wireframe. Maybe my wireframe can be on -20 or -100 or 30 or 31. It's not important. We can only focus on Mastercam axis. Okay, if you click incremental, it means that I'm gonna care about where is my wireframe. At that point actually my wireframe plane and the Mastercam axis plane is the same. Okay, so that's why it's not important at that point. Okay, I just need to click absolute or incremental. Is not important at that case. But if you intend to use actually the wireframe position or Mastercam axis position, you need to be careful about absolute and incremental option. I'm gonna also mention about that stuff. This is quite important. You can also see some example about that stuff. Okay, So this is my clearance plane, by the way. You can also see my options here. This is my retract position. For example, we are working somewhere, and then we're gonna focus on the differentiate. So we're gonna use the retract position, and then we can organize it as a 3. Okay, this is 5 and this is 3, and then we can turn to fit plane. This is the last G0 rapid movement position here. I can click here and it's a fit plane. After that we're gonna focus on G1 after that point. So and then I can click here. This is the top of stock 0 and this is my depth. So at top of the stock and between the top of the stock and depth position, and this is my actually depth of cut. Okay, so we're gonna start from here. This is 0, and we can also turn to absolute coordinate system. Maybe it can be -10. So it means that we're gonna cut and the 10 millimeter. If I am writing 1, so it means that we're gonna cut 11 and the depth position here. So that's why I can write it 0 to -10. After that, of course, we need to turn to depth cut here to be able to activate the maximum row step here. I can write here 3. Okay, it's a final step, only 1, and this is the finished depth can be 0.1 millimeter. This is the finished cuts and 1. This is my finished step. This is the number. And this is the actually depth of cut for finishing process. Okay. So after that, actually I don't want to see the multi-passes options here. We can also turn that stuff, and later maybe I can turn to lead in and lead out options. We can activate that stuff. Most of the time I prefer to use some arc entry. I can write here and 100 and the 80 degree, 180 degree here to be able to get my circle. Okay, and then we can click OK button. Okay, you can see some circling process here, as you can see here. Okay, we can also see some rapid movement here. Of course, that's part because of the overlap options. As you remember that when we are entering our the product, we're gonna see some surface roughness at that point. So if you don't wanna see that kind of stuff, you can use overlapped options. So we can recut and that little area. This is the 2 millimeter. This is the entry position. We're gonna cut that area and again and again. So that's why after that process we cannot see any difference in the surface roughness at that point. But if you don't want, you can select that one. And then I can click OK button again. So that's all about lead in and lead out options. We can see the different color here. Green one is lead in and the red one is lead out options. Okay, let's focus on the depth reduce. Of course, before that, let's focus on the depth of cut here. 3, 3, 3 and 1 and finish depth of cut here. If you turn to depth cut options here, if I am writing 2 here, it means that we're gonna see the 2 toolpaths here. Okay, we can also see some corner operations here. Actually, that's not and create some corner on our the geometry. When I am turned to the simulation mode here, and when I am activate my process here, so we can use that options here. Okay, we're gonna see that we cannot create any reduce on our geometry. So this is all about smoothing our toolpath. Okay, that's not about our tool. But if you see some run out on your tool, of course you can maybe see the undersharp or the not sharp corner here. If you would like to be sure about that stuff, and you can turn to cut parameters and you can organize here. This is the sharp options, and we can use the none options here. If I am selecting the none options, we can see that kind of and the toolpath here. Okay, let me simulate that stuff here. We're gonna start from here and here. You can see that you cannot see any smoothing options for our toolpath corners. That's not about our wireframe, okay? That's all about our toolpath options. So let me click here and make that stuff like this, and then I can turn to cut parameters. We can turn to sharp options, and if you would like to actually, let's talk about the cut parameters. This is the compensation type calculated by computer. It means that, and we don't care about the tool diameter offset number in our CNC. We just calculate our tool diameter offset by using the Mastercam. If you would like to calculate your tool diameter offset in your CNC, that is another option. So of course, you need to turn to contour options here, control options here, and then we can organize it. We can turn to computer options. Of course, at that point, we also need to be careful about our compensation direction. Okay, that's all about our geometry. If you turn to geometry options here, if I am click here, this is my chain, and our tool gonna be on the right side of my tool. So that is the main idea behind the cut parameters, compensation type calculated by computer, compensation direction at the right side, something like that. We can also see the contour type here. You can see the ramp and remachining or another options here. Okay, but we're gonna focus on the contour type here. So you can also organize a stock to leave on the walls options. It can be 0.1 millimeter, and stock to leave on the floors, it can be 0.1 millimeter. Of course, according to that position. So, and we're gonna reach minus 9.9. Okay, according to that parameters. If you would like to write here 0 to 0, and then maybe you can turn to linking parameters. So maybe you can also write here minus 9.9 is the same options, or you can write minus 10, and then you can add some stock to and leave on the floors options here. Okay, that's all about our face toolpath for our C axis. Okay, let's see our the G code. So that's why I'm gonna push the G1 button here. This is the MP fan post that's post according to the FANUC control unit, and then we're gonna get our C code like this. Okay, let me click here, and then we're gonna see our C code here. Let me check that stuff. Yes, you can see that X and C axis is activated right now. You can also see the different feed rates here. That's all about our cornering, our reduce process. Okay, we can organize that kind of stuff by changing our feed rate. Okay, that's all about here. Okay, I think that's enough for the first part, and maybe after that I can turn to the multi-axis options and another options in our contour toolpath. But I'm gonna stop here. Maybe we can also focus on the lead in and lead out options. Okay, if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask me any question. I'm here to answer your question. The big dream to be able to create actually huge community all around the world and to solve engineering problem. Okay, thank you very much and take care.